Hello everyone and welcome to our governance training. In this session, we'll guide you through the essentials of good governance for organisations in Scotland. The purpose of today's session is to give you a clear snapshot of governance by first defining what governance is and what this looks like in practice. We'll also explore the laws and regulations that shape governance in Scotland. And lastly, we'll explore the expectations and responsibilities of boards and trustees in relation to all this. To start us off, I'd like you to think about what word comes to mind when you hear the word governance. Don't overthink it, just jot down the first thing that comes up. So what do we mean when we talk about governance? Governance is all about how an organisation is directed, controlled, and held accountable. To understand governance more clearly, it helps to contrast it with management. Here's the key distinction. Management focuses on day-to-day operations, whereas governance is about providing oversight, setting direction, and ensuring accountability. When governance is done well, it creates a culture of trust, integrity, and effectiveness that keeps the organisation strong and accountable. We'll explore what governance looks like in practice later on in this session. This section provides overview of the legal and regulatory context for the third sector in Scotland, focusing on what charity trustees and boards need to understand. Understanding the laws and regulations in Scotland is vital to understanding governance, because governance doesn't exist in a vacuum. Governance is shaped, enabled and constrained by the laws, regulations and constitutional arrangements that apply in a specific jurisdiction. The third sector in Scotland includes charities, voluntary and community organisations, social enterprises, cooperatives and community interest companies. These organisations exist primarily to achieve social or environmental benefit, not to distribute profit to private individuals. The following key pieces of legislation set out how charities and their trustees are governed in Scotland. First, the Charities and Trustee Investment Act 2005 is the main legislation governing charities in Scotland. It defines what a charity is, the charitable purposes, and sets out trustees' legal duties. It also establishes OSCR as the independent regulator. Next, the Trustee Investment Regulations 2006 specifies how trustees may invest charitable funds and the need to balance risk, return, and ethical considerations. Company law for charitable companies applies if the charity is incorporated as a company limited by guarantee, which must also comply with the Companies Act 2006 and report to Companies House. Community Interest Company regulations. KICs are regulated by the KIC regulator and must demonstrate community benefit rather than private profit. Depending on the organisation's activities, some other relevant laws include employment law, data protection, health and safety law, fundraising and financial regulations, and the Equality Act 2010. Oscar is the independent regulator and registrar of Scottish charities. Its functions include maintaining the Scottish Charity Register, monitoring and investigating compliance, issuing guidance on good governance and trustee duties, approving changes to constitutions, mergers and dissolutions, promoting public confidence in charities. Charities must report annually to Oscar through an annual return, trustee report, and accounts of which may be independently examined or audited depending on size. In Scotland, trustees are collectively responsible for ensuring compliance with all relevant laws and Oscar guidance. Good governance is not just a best practice issue. It's a legal expectation tied to trustee duties. Therefore, trustees and boards are responsible for ensuring up-to-date governing documents and policies, compliance with financial reporting and safeguarding duties, transparent decision-making, and finally, managing conflicts of interest. The third sector in Scotland operates within a supportive framework influenced by the Scottish Government's third sector unit. Local third sector interfaces such as ourselves, which support and connect local organisations. And the Scottish Charity Governance Code, a voluntary but highly recommended code outlining principles of good governance such as integrity, openness and accountability. You can check out our training session on the Governance Code to explore its key principles in more depth and how to use them in your organisation. In summary, the third sector in Scotland is governed by a robust legal and regulatory framework centred on the Charities and Trustee Investment Act 2005, all of which is overseen by Oscar. Additionally, when it comes to achieving good governance, trustees are collectively responsible for ensuring compliance, good governance, and the responsible stewardship of charitable assets to maintain public trust and deliver charitable purposes effectively. As we defined earlier, good governance is about how a charity is directed, controlled, and held accountable. In practice, this means ensuring that your organisation is well run, transparent, and focused on achieving its charitable purposes. When governance is practiced well, an organisation will have a clear purpose and strategic direction. In practice, this means that its strategy aligns with its governing document and the Charity and Trustee Investment Act 2005. It also means that trustees regularly review strategy to ensure activities deliver real public benefit. It will also have effective leadership and decision making. In practice, the board provides collective leadership, makes well-informed decisions and records them transparently. Additionally, trustees bring a mix of skills and experience and work together constructively. Good governance means an organisation is accountable and transparent. In practice, this means the organisation will report openly to Oscar and the public, submitting annual reports and accounts that are accurate, accessible, and tell the story of impact. Stakeholders such as staff, volunteers, beneficiaries, and funders are kept informed and listened to. An organisation practicing good governance will be compliant and have integrity. In practice, trustees ensure the organisation meets all legal and regulatory duties. Furthermore, conflicts of interest are managed properly and assets are used only for its purposes. Good governance looks like effective risk and financial management. In practice, this means that the board monitors financial health, manages risks, and ensures systems of internal controls are in place. Reserves and investments are managed responsibly and ethically. A key aspect of good governance is good people management and culture. In practice, this means that staff and volunteers are supported, valued, and treated fairly. Additionally, the board promotes a positive culture of respect, inclusion, and continuous improvement. And finally, good governance looks like reviews and learning. In practice, this means governance arrangements are reviewed regularly, for example, using the Scottish Governance Code. Trustees seek feedback, undertake training, and evaluate their performance as a board. Collectively, trustees are responsible for putting all these elements of governance into practice, not just following the rules, but embedding good habits in how the board operates. The board can delegate tasks, but they cannot delegate accountability. As a whole, the board must ensure the charity is compliant, effective, and worthy of public trust. We've covered a lot of ground today, giving you a clear snapshot of what governance means and how it works in practice. We've also examined the legal, regulatory, and wider contexts that shape governance in Scotland. And finally, we've considered what's expected of boards and charity trustees, highlighting that trustees share a collective responsibility for putting good governance into action and ensuring their charities are well run, accountable, and effective. We started off today by asking for a word that came to mind when you thought about governance. Having explored the topic in more depth, I'd like you to write down what governance means to you now. Take a moment to compare it with your first response. Think about what's changed. Do you notice any progress, new insights, or areas you'd like to develop further? Take advantage of these resources to learn more and support your governance journey. Check out more of our training sessions, which provide tailored training to enhance governance skills and explore some of the charity laws and regulations in more depth. This is a great opportunity to deepen your understanding with our guidance. Next, head over to the Oscar website for more guidance on how to meet your legal obligations effectively. Take a closer look at the Scottish Governance Code for the third sector, linked below this video, which is a valuable framework for maintaining good governance practices. TSDG also deliver a training session delving into the principles of the code in more detail. Lastly, the Scottish Council for Voluntary Organisations offers numerous resources. They support you with tools, training, and advice to strengthen your organisation. It's worth highlighting that SCVO offer a good governance checkup. It's not only a diagnostic tool, but also a proactive step towards continuous improvement. The service helps you assess where you're doing well, but it also goes a step further by providing a bespoke action plan tailored specifically to your organisation and highlights areas where there's room for improvement. Thank you for your time today. I hope you're leaving here with more confidence about governance, and the role you play in leading your organisation. Remember, governance is a journey. The key is to keep learning, keep reflecting, and keep improving. If you'd like more information or support on any of the topics covered in this session, please get in touch with your Locality Development Officer using the contact details provided here. We look forward to hearing from you.